All right. We're back with another edition of the Leo G Show. I am Leo G. For now, it's the Leo G Show until we get this thing fired up and we get this thing all rebranded. But that's happening soon, sometime pretty soon. Tonight we're gonna do a show. We said we're gonna put out some more content, man. We're not gonna go live, man, but just want to talk about a few things, put it out there, man, to put some more content up on the channel, get some discussions going, and get everybody to talking because that's what we like to do, talk about these sports. So before I get too far off, I got to give it over to my man Derek Cole over there on the East holding it down. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Leo G? It's what is it? Hump day?
Something like
Yeah,
that. It's
it's
something
hump
like
day.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a hump day,
yeah.
man. We're trying to get this content out, man. We're trying to do it, man. You know how it is, man. So we just putting some things out there this evening. So listen, we'll go ahead and do it like we usually do, but this gonna be a little light work. Fit check, drink check. What's up, homie?
Hey man, it's gonna be a late day. I'm in my smoking gear today. I feel like a cigar today, so I represent my one of my favorite brands, Oliva, and then I got on this other cigar brand shit I can't divulge because it is what it is. And I'm just sipping on some Scofflaw, one of our Hoodie Mob sponsors. So I'm just sipping on that because it's cold and it's ready. And I need a little more alcohol today in my beer.
Oh, damn. Well, listen, man. It like you just said, it is a hump day, man. So Leo G on the hump day tip. I just got on some Atlanta United gear, man. So I'm like, I got on my official blackout footy mob pad, as you can see. Shout out footy mob, man. I just picked that up at the tailgate, man. We was just down there, watched them take another L. But we got some more news that we'll talk about at a later date about what's going on over there in Atlanta United land, man. But yeah, we was down there watching them take a whole big fat, just juicy L, bruh.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest, dog. I I did one of those banks. I did one of you.
Shout out
11
to Banks. Oh
halftime.
yeah, if you didn't know Banks is not with us, man. Shout out to Banks. He'll join us
Yeah,
at a later date. And absolutely, man. Look, I stuck around, but I tell you what, 75th minute, I definitely popped up, man, and headed to the exit so I could beat the traffic, man. It was horrible. It was bad. And like I said, at a later date, we'll start to talk about what's going on over there in Atlanta United land because they got some craziness going on. So, like I said, with my fit just got light work, a couple of years back. This is a practice Atlanta United kit. So Derek Cole, man, during the week, man, I'm not on it, man. Leo G is not on it. That's just what I do. But I am drinking something that's pretty good here, man. I got some Topo Chico Saboras sparkling water. So I can hydrate, man. It's hot outside. Tangerine flavored with some ginger extract, right? Yeah. That's what I'm doing on a weekday, Wednesday night tip, man, as we record this show. Yeah, hey man, don't frown up at me, man. I'm trying to,
Oh, I thought
like I said,
I thought you was gonna. I thought you was gonna say my screen had froze or something.
nah,
Because I was just like, I know that ain't what I think it is.
nah, man. Nah, it's just nah. It wasn't. It ain't no. Whatever you think it
Well,
is, it's not. It's Topo
well,
Chico sparkling water,
just
man.
make sure when you drink it, just do that.
Put my pinky up when I do it. Okay,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
it
yeah,
is
yeah.
what it is, bro. I can do that for you, man. So,
I
like I
can't even
said,
ask
on the
you to.
really,
I can't even ask you to. You was
huh?
about to do it. I can't even ask you to take no shots with that.
Nah, man, I can't, man. Listen, we gonna get back to the Friday night, man, festivities, and we'll do it big time, man. You know how we do, man. But like I said, just trying to push some content out to our viewers, trying to make sure we doing this on a regular, man. So we'll drop this, man, and let you guys take it up for debate, man. I hope it's entertaining and hope you guys you enjoy it. So listen, before we go any further, we still I don't know when we'll actually air this, but we are still trying to look for a rebrand. If we hadn't done it before we air this show, you can still hit us up because we need your help. We're trying to help us rebrand this show. Derico has a nice prize to anybody that's going to be able to go ahead and help us do. I think we got some suggestions at the tailgate, Derico, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to have to take those into consideration as well. And I'll talk to you a little bit about them off air. But yeah, man.
Huh?
So
How did I not get that info?
man, because you
I
were
was right
probably over
there.
there hooping and hollering at the domino table and
Oh,
doing all kind of other stuff
ooh.
that was going on.
Do you
So I don't know.
actually
So
want
you
to?
missed it.
Do you actually want to bring that up? I
Man,
didn't think
no,
you
we'll
would ever
bring that
bring
up
that
on
up
another.
again.
We'll bring that up on another go round, man. But yeah, so listen, if you're
Oh,
trying to hear some new ideas for the show, for the rebrand, man, hit us up, the Leo G Show at gmail.com, man, and we'll definitely take those into consideration. And like I said, depending on when we air this thing, we could, who knows, we could have a new name. We might not. I don't know. But if we don't, hit us up, send them to us, man, for real. But yeah, I did get a couple of suggestions at the tailgate. I think, and I hit you up off the air, and we can see if this will go. But yeah, man, so that's what's up. So listen, dude, light work today. We're gonna talk about a couple of topics, man, that are just relevant to sports in general. And because we had these conversations, we just thought we'd put them out here for debate for everybody else to talk about. Listen, Derek Cole, before I get into what we're going to discuss, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that always rears its head in this city, and maybe you can give your take on it. We've done this before. We visited this before, but we'll come back and visit this again. So this is another segment of ATL versus everybody, and we're gonna just get into it. And we're gonna talk about it, man. So listen, the other day, man, one of the talking heads on talk radio here in the city, he put out there about UGA, and apparently, I guess it got on to the social media and was talking about University of Georgia and how is it relevant to Atlanta sports. This thing went down a rabbit hole, and once again, people got in their feelings and lost their mind. Derek Cole, man, why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep going back and forth semantically about West Atlanta sports was not Atlanta sports? I mean, we are in the state of Georgia, so that's the common denominator, but I'll give you my take here in a minute. Derek Cole, University of Georgia, is this relevant to the Atlanta sports scene?
I mean, I would think so. Because most people root for that team as opposed to that team, and that other team is that team called Georgia Tech. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if this is supposed to be a knock on UGA being in Athens or whatever. I mean, we're gonna claim UGA because it, it's Georgia. It's just not Atlanta. I mean, I don't think people think of Georgia Tech like that. I could be wrong. I mean, we are the biggest metropolitan area in the state of Georgia. So why can't we slide Athens in there? And then, some people are just, soft and butthurt about the fact that Atlanta can't have nice things, I guess, because UGA is successful. I guess they say because UGA is successful, it can't be Atlanta because they think all of Atlanta sports are not successful. Maybe that's it. I don't know. You got me on that one.
I don't know either, man. And I don't know why this always just comes up, man. It's crazy. And I don't know if it's these transplants that like to bring this stuff up or talk about it, man. But I've been living here all my life. And their team here in the city, yes, there's a college here in the city, Georgia Tech. They had some success with their football program and their basketball program for that matter. But there's another team here in the metro Atlanta area, and that's Georgia State as well. So in the metro Atlanta area, Georgia State. But when it comes to UGA, I think that it is relevant to Atlanta sports. I mean, it's right up the road. It's an hour and 30 minutes. Here it take
I
depending
didn't
on.
even think it's that long. Yeah,
Well, okay, we'll give an hour and some
it could be.
change. An hour and some
Depends on
change
drive.
from the city. Well, from where I stay, it's about an hour and 30. But like I said, in the city, you know what I'm saying, wherever you are, because that's another whole topic of conversation about the city and who ITP and OTP. We can talk about that later. But University of Georgia is very relevant, in my opinion, to the Atlanta sports scene because you got, I think, a whole boatload of alumni that will tell you otherwise as well, right? A lot of people that live in the metro Atlanta area went to school at UGA. You know what I'm saying? Some people still, some students commute every day from Atlanta to UGA. So, or the metro area, however you want to call it. So I think that the University of Georgia is very relevant to the Atlanta sports scene, and it needs to be talked about. It needs to be discussed. Now, like you said, Derek Cole, if you are butthurt because you a Tech fan or you went to Tech or you some transplant that just want to continue to poo-poo on the Atlanta sports scenes and success, then that's your own thing, man. But I don't know why you would hate. That ain't a good look if you just want to hate and continue to step on the Atlanta sports scene and say that we can't claim claim the dogs.
I mean, you know, it's a
I'm gonna claim them.
it's a slow sports media section. Ain't nothing going on. The Braves ain't doing too good right now. The Hawks out of the playoffs. The Falcons in OTAs. I mean, what is there to talk about but controversial crap? You know, something just
Yeah.
to make controversy, because you know when you're playing radio, you need some controversy to gear up some interest in your lazy segments on the radio station. And that's all I'm gonna say about that, Mr. Meatman Shapiro.
Whatever, man. So listen, hey, putting it out there, man, for the debate. So in the comments, man, leave it. What do you think? What's your takes? In the comments, let us know. UGA, is that part of the Atlanta sports scene? Do you consider that Atlanta sports? I mean, like I said, you heard our take from Derek O and Leo G, because we definitely gonna ride with the dogs. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, I respect them people that go over to the North Avenue Trade School and what they've done in sports. And we definitely gonna support, Georgia State as well. But them Bulldogs are gonna always be, you know what I'm saying, Maine, for me anyway. Now, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but you know how that
Right.
is, man. So
This is
definitely.
my last comment on this. If they go woof about it, then like you said, we're gonna start talking about Georgia State. I mean that is the biggest school in Georgia as far as enrollment. So
Yeah,
let's
it is.
let's not act like they ain't.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, and it got to come from a place of where, like you said, it's just so many different places as to where people are with this narrative. Like you said, and I kind of tend to think that a lot of people are just hating. You know what I'm saying? They can't stand for, especially transplants. And I know I'm gonna probably take a lot of flack for this, man, but I don't know what it is about the transplants that come here to this city and just, they don't want to give no love to nothing. They don't. They want to see nobody shine. And it's hard, but it'd be hard pressed, man. Hard pressed. They want to keep it on you. I mean, some of these folk, they've been in this city for a long time and still want to claim other places, but that's a whole nother story too. Went to elementary school, middle school, high school.
Yeah,
You've been working here for 35 years, but you want to talk about, oh, I'm from somewhere else. Man,
right.
you've been here 40 years, man.
Or joke about you were just playing about a comment about another team in the city that ain't your team. Oops.
Yeah. Happens quite a bit. So yeah, man, leave it in the comments. Let us know. Do you think UGA is still part of the Atlanta sports scene? I definitely think they are. And hey, y'all can do what y'all do. So listen, some other stuff that we want to talk about tonight. Derek O brought this to our attention, and we definitely want to touch on it here as we move forward in the show. And Derek O, I'm gonna kind of let you take. I'm gonna be in the passenger seat. I'm gonna let you take the driver's seat on this, because you thought it was a pretty decent topic to talk about, because it's kind of funny. It's kind of comical, actually. I think this is going to be a little comical as we talk about this NFL versus NBA players debate, man. And this has been going on. This just didn't start like this year, but I know it's reared its head. A lot of people have started to talk about it, from both sides of the table, about the better athlete. Who's a better athlete, right? NBA players or NFL players, or who's tougher, NBA players or NFL players, or can NBA players play in the NFL and vice versa? So that's the debate right now going on. Derek O, man, let's shed some light on this topic of conversation with this NFL versus NBA player debate.
So I'm not going to name no names. I just want to be upfront about that. But there's been a lot of conversation from several pro athletes comparing who's a better athlete as far as NFL players are concerned or NBA players are concerned. Want to know if a NFL player could translate over to the NBA, or if an NBA player could translate over to the NFL. For me, as a former athlete, a 3-sport athlete, yes, me. I used to be a 3-sport athlete, people. I played football, basketball, and ran track. I can tell you the transition from football to basketball, seamless. You know why? Well, wasn't nobody running at me with no helmet on, no pads, and 235 pounds, and I was only 135 pounds. That's why. That's why the transition was easy from football to basketball. And then basketball to track. Same thing. It was no transition, because all we did was run around a circle. Or in my case, I high jump too. Yeah, I high jump. But I will digress about me. But let's talk about these people that feel like NBA players are better athletes than NFL players. So Leo G, with that being said, I know you scrapped it up. So you tell me how you feel about NBA players versus NFL players. Who's the better athlete to you?
Man, listen. I thought you were gonna say three sports. I thought you were gonna say you let it 3 sports. I thought you were gonna say lacrosse, golf, and Batman or something like that, man. But look, I get it, man. Down there with them.
They
So
didn't even
shout
have
out
that
to the
in South
Serb
Georgia
niggas.
when I was in.
Gotta have that. So listen, man. Yeah, I did. Play a little. I play a little bit of sports, man. You know what I'm saying? I did my thing, man. Play a little football. I didn't play basketball in high school, but I wrestled and I kind of tossed that little shot put out there for a minute out there with the track. But I football was my main thing. Everything else I kind of did during the off season to kind of keep myself, together for football. So, going back when we start talking about from a high school level, and then we'll kind of progress up to the professional level. But I remember when I was in school, I don't know, you played basketball as well. So maybe you can kind of take this. I know you probably had guys that didn't play football that was on the basketball team, but going back to the high school level, we
I was
had
the
some
only one.
guys. He was on the one, yeah. So we had some guys back when I played football in high school that were like, "Oh, I'm gonna come out. We're gonna come out and play." They were basketball players, but they're gonna come out and play football. Well, sure, yeah, come on out. So, Derek, for us, I don't know how it was with you all down there, but it was a challenge to us to kind of see, we had 2 guys that I know for a fact that were basketball players that quote unquote wanted to come out there and show what they had on the football field. But we made it a personal challenge to tap these guys or make them say, "Hey, you know what? This ain't for me." And for where I went to school at, that happened. Both of the guys decided that the football thing wasn't for them.
Wasn't
You
for
know what
them.
I'm saying? And know that these guys were athletes, but you know what I'm saying? They kind of, when they talk that talk, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to back it up. And that's kind of what happened. So
Right.
on that level, from a high school level, when you look at it like that, if you're an athlete, you're an athlete, yeah. But it's some cats are going to challenge you, and that's just what the competitive spirit is. They're gonna come out
Right.
there after you. But athletes are athletes, man. And if you tough, you tough. But that's the other question is toughness. But when you start progressing the levels of sports, where you go from amateur sports
Yeah.
from high school up into the NFL, then that whole toughness and grittiness starts to that's where really the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah. It's like, just think about this. You playing a sport that you have to have protective gear over all your body. I mean, basketball players, you're out there in shorts and a tank top and maybe some leggings. Let's just be real about it. There's a difference. I've seen more people come from basketball, I'm gonna say football, to basketball and make it because of the physicality from football to basketball. I'm gonna just use an example. Charlie Ward, one of the best quarterbacks that ever laced them up at Florida State University. But he was also a superstar in basketball. He actually decided that it would have been better for him on a professional level to go to play basketball than football. And I can't say why he chose one or the other, but I'm just going to assume that the longevity in basketball was better than the longevity in the NFL. Also, the fact that the basketball gave guaranteed contracts, which makes a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I go play this dangerous sport over here when my contract is not guaranteed? When I can run up and down the court, pass the ball to somebody, and get a guaranteed contract. So, as far as the physicality is concerned, there's to me there's no comparison with the physicality of football compared to basketball. Or basketball players soft? I'm not saying that they're soft. I'm just saying it's gonna take a lot for me to find one that'll run across the middle and take a shot from someone like Ray Lewis or someone like Ed Reed, get up and say, "Hey, I want to continue to playing football instead of going out there on the basketball court." What I mean, how that looks on you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, man, at the professional level, man, and we said this. I don't know if it's some type of inferiority complex. I don't know what this is, man. But football players and basketball players, obviously, the personalities are different, right? Football players, I think, you know, they're tough, but at the same time, man, it's like they almost have to really, I don't know, like prove, you know, like, because, you know, they wear helmets, you know what I'm saying? You're not seeing whatever. So a lot of times, man, you know, football players go the extra mile to let it be known that they're professional football players, right? And then the NBA players, yeah, we see everybody, we know who you are, and that, you know, whatever the case may be. So then it gets to this point where it's like, you know, okay, hey, it's a pissing contest. You know what? I'm a professional athlete, you're a professional athlete. You know what I'm saying? But what I do is a lot tougher than what you do. And back and forth. It's like, oh, no, you can't do this. Well, no, you can't do that. But, you know, like I said, athletes are athletes. Like you said, Charlie Ward, one of the greatest, you know, collegiate athletes. And then he transitioned into the NBA, played for a number of years, proved that, you know, he could do both. Obviously, you know, the seasons, you know, this is not like baseball and football where you could, you know, you had a couple of players that played both.
Right.
Really couldn't do that when it comes to basketball and football. But yeah, man, I don't know what's up with these guys, man. Just want to go back and forth. Now, I will say this much, man. I do think there is the mentality for playing professional football has to be totally different. You know, I think basketball you can get away. And I'm not going. I'm gonna be careful about the words that I use here. I think in basketball, you don't have to really, you know. You can kind of get away with some things playing basketball, but football you gotta have a mentality.
No, say it.
I'm not gonna. No, you don't get me in trouble.
But I mean, who gonna come looking for you? They don't know where you stay. They just know your.
I mean, I'm saying,
they
like
just know
I said,
your Twitter name.
Like this, 95% of NFL football players, man, you got to really, you know, it's a train wreck every play. You know what I'm saying? Basketball, you're gonna get some contact. You know what I'm saying? You might get a little bump, a little bruise here or there. I mean, it is tough, but I mean, it's not like you said there, because it's not like you running into somebody full speed play after play, or you digging in the trenches against somebody, you know what I'm saying, giving up 40, 50 pounds. Like that's a lot, and it's a lot of wear and tear. Now, basketball, like I said,
I don't see nobody talking about CTE in basketball. I'm just saying.
Nah.
I mean, if you were talking about like back in the day when in the 80s and 90s or the early, like the Detroit Piston days, you know what I'm saying, with the Beerland Beers and the Rodmans and what's my boy name? Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that still is no comparison. The only thing that you can say is that when you drive to the hole, you're gonna get basically body slam. And the only thing that's protecting you is the floor.
But now, so you know, of course, both sports have evolved. It's funny you should bring that up. And we see now that in this era of basketball, there is nowhere. I mean, there's still contact, but nowhere what we saw, you know, 20 or 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, we had some real deal goons, and they still got a couple of goons in the NBA today, but not like to the likes of what we saw 20, 30 years ago. I mean, you coming in the paint, you were gonna feel it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there were some, you know, concussions and missing teeth, and you know shots.
Exactly.
It was getting real physical. And I here's debate. You know, people want to talk about, oh, it's still tough now. Okay, yeah, but bro, I can show you some clips of them getting busy, like you said, them Detroit days, Bill Laimbeer. You know, cats they was for real. And I mean, you know, you start talking about the day too with the Ron Artests and you know the Draymonds. Them cats are pretty tough. They are, and they get down. But then, does that toughness and does that physicality on the basketball court translate over to physicality and toughness? Because now you got to do it every play. It ain't just sometime when I want to in the paint, but now it's every play. You got to go up on somebody, you got to run up on somebody, and you got to do that time and time and time again. So yeah, it's just different.
They don't have north of 53 players on a roster for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because you got 11 on each side of the ball. That's 22. What they're telling you is there's some people that might not make it throughout this game because of the physicality.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that's another difference. So let me ask you this, Leo.
Yeah.
Out of the NBA players today, which NBA player you think could cross over into the NFL and be semi or successful if they cross over? And tell me the position that you think they would play to.
That's a good one, man. I mean, it's a couple of cats I think that might be able to do a little something, man. You know what I'm saying? I would say, um, I mean, the first person you think about prime in the prime, and they did play some high school football in their prime. You could say LeBron, possibly. I mean, LeBron is a large man, very, very athletic. I think that he probably could if he wanted, if he had chosen a different path, he may have been able to make it in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? With his size and physicality and strength, he probably could have, went out there, DN or something, tight end, whatever. I think that a prime time LeBron possibly could have translated over there. Your Draymond's, Draymond, I think he's pretty tough. I don't know, like with his size, like where that would translate onto a football field. You know what I'm saying? Maybe throw some extra pounds on him, put him on the D line or something. I don't know.
Is he quick enough to be on the D line?
I don't know. He put hands on folk. He's strong enough. I know that he's strong.
It's always a bully always gonna bully until you get bullied. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Said, what's my man named Karl-Anthony Towns up there in Minnesota? He a pretty big dude. He tall. Like I said, see these NBA guys, these 7-footers, man. Like you gotta figure out where are you putting them on an NFL roster? Because these guys, they too big and tall to play wide receiver. Like, you know what I'm saying? They don't really have the quickness and agility, you know what I'm saying, like to do that. And then they so tall, like putting them on the offensive line, they ain't got the weight for that. So now it's like a matter of where do you put them? Because everybody, like, just because you tall and quick don't mean that you're gonna be, tall, and I mean that's gonna translate to athleticism or speed on a football field, right?
Or basketball court.
Or a basketball court, correct. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because, like, I mean, we got a lot of fast cats in the NFL, man, but they'll probably throw up a lot of bricks because they just don't have, they don't have that skill set, man.
You just made another point that I feel like why I think the NFL can translate better to NBA than NBA to the NFL. I mean, most cats that probably play football are multiple sport athletes. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to be fast, you got to be strong. So at least I can tell you these two things. One thing for sure, if you're a football player, there's a good chance that you can either play football, run track, go hand in hand, or like you said, in a special case where you can actually play basketball, because I think most of us probably started playing basketball than we did football, because going out getting a basketball and a hoop is easier than going out buying recreation equipment and getting smashed upside the head, say during practice. So that's why I personally think that it's easier to go from NFL to the NBA. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think.
You got Joel Embiid is another big guy. But like I said, you probably have to put them on the line. And like I said, do you have the agility? If you play an offensive line now, and see, this is the thing. I don't want to go too far off into the weeds. Like you put a big, tall, strong NBA player on the offensive line, that's kind of murderous, man. People take for granted playing offensive line is not an easy task.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So these are some of the things that you have to take into consideration when you talk about translating NBA players and over. And I'm in agreement with you, total agreement with you, Derek O, that I think most NFL players could translate. Not all, but you have probably way more NFL players that will be able to translate over into the NBA because, like you said, a lot of them are multiple sport athletes. Don't forget about wrestling too. A lot of guys played, in the NFL. They were good wrestlers. They wrestled, in high school, amateur level. So that's another sport too that kind of coincides with some toughness and a mentality that you have to play the sport of football. Because I'm gonna tell you something, man. You got to be a tough SOB to wrestle. Trust me, I know. You got to be a tough dude to get out there on that, man. I ain't talking about WWE. I ain't talking about Jey Uso. Shout out Jey Uso. I ain't talking about him. I'm talking about, real deal Olympic style, freestyle Roman Greco. You know what I'm saying? That real deal, like 2-inch mat getting your back slammed out on that. But you know what I'm saying?
Thrown out.
Absolutely, man.
So
let me flip it and ask you. So who in the NFL do you think would translate over and be good NBA players?
Because I wasn't thinking going that way. I think folks like, I'm just going to talk about the Atlanta Falcons. I think Drake London could go over into the
Well, he did. He
NBA.
played collegiate
Yeah,
basketball.
that's what I'm saying. And not knowing that, that's what I just said. You see what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
think Kyle Pitts could translate into the in the NBA.
Shit, you had Tony
Hey, my
Gonzalez back
boy,
in the day, who was
our
a
new
hard hooper.
quarterback actually, our new quarterback actually can hoop. Penix.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
like
you know, I said back in
not
the day, you
knowing.
had Tony G could
Yeah,
hoop, Antonio Gates.
and I absolutely think 24 can hoop.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
I
like
mean,
4 right there, just off the rip. And that's just
with
on
the
the Falcons,
Falcons. Yeah,
right?
we're not even getting into like, you know, everybody, because I'm pretty sure there are quite a few guys that we're not thinking about that play. I think the receiver that Buffalo just drafted, I think he was like a big time
Coleman,
hooper, you know, he was in high school.
yeah, Coleman.
So Kobe, yeah. So it's been a lot of cats, man, that have that played the game of basketball pretty well, and they just chose to take that football path. I mean, you know, for whatever reason, that's what they
They
decided,
chose a
man, is to
cool.
take.
Let me go ahead and break it down to you, Leo. I'm sorry, my brothers on the basketball squad, but football will always be king, and the queens love kings. And I'm gonna leave it right there.
Hey man, it is what it is, man. But yeah, that's what's been going on, man. So look, as you watch this, drop something in the comments. Let us know, man. NFL versus NBA players. Who do you think? Who do you think the bigger athletes? Who do you think could translate over from the NFL to the NBA? Or vice versa, man. So yeah, that's some stuff that's been out there, you know, and we definitely wanted to bring this on to the show and talk about it and give you all our thoughts on it. So listen, Derrico, it's something else here we want to talk about that we've already visited, but we're gonna talk about it again before we close this thing out, man. Just keeping the content going, man. Um, and it's been something that's been pretty heavy in the news right now, but we're gonna talk about it because it's gonna be heavy. And this is something that now we got to go back and take a look at, you know, prior to, you know what I'm saying? I think last episode we were talking about before Derrick Cole. So now I think now talking about this topic, we're gonna have to go in and start talking about before
Right.
Caitlin. So let's jump into it, man. The Caitlin Clark effect. Here we go. We're gonna revisit it again because there's been a lot of stuff being talked about in the WNBA. But before we just talk about Caitlin Clark, let's just talk about the presence, the WNBA and what's going on with the media right now. I mean, you know, we're a small deal podcast, but you know, I think I pay more attention to women's basketball, obviously, than I have in the past. But now I think the media is now starting to devote a lot of attention to women's basketball. And it's not translating very well because it's a male-dominated industry, obviously, when you start talking about sports media. So, Derrick Cole, it's not, I guess, when they start talking about, because it's not relevant, as you would say, it's something, it's the new smoking hot thing on the press. Got to start talking about women's basketball, specifically because of the Caitlin Clark effect. Why is the male perspective on the WNBA not going over well, I guess, you know, in the mainstream right now? Because a lot of the talking heads are taking fire for the way that they're you know, talking about the WNBA.
Let me put my hater blockers on. Because these men are sounding like uneducated jocks. That's what they sounding like. Uneducated jocks that are being forced to talk about something that they don't want to talk about. And we're gonna be honest with it. That's what it sounds like to me. They're being forced to talk about the topic that they do not want to talk about because they don't feel like the WNBA is worthy of their conversation. That's just my 2 cents. And I don't care what nobody else out there says, even though you can put it in the comments after you see this, what you feel about it. But that's what I think. They are uneducated about this sport because they don't watch it. They didn't watch it, but now it's a hot topic. So the producers are telling them to talk about it.
I'm in total agreement, and it's sad, but I mean it's a reality. Um, you know, especially when you start talking about some of the talking heads that are running things now. They, you know, longer in the tooth. They come from a different era. You know, I mean, women are athletes. We've already established that, man. That women are exceptional athletes, you know, in their own right. But it has never, this is now, we've now gone into uncharted territory where the relevancy of women's sports is here and it's upon us. And we have to, you know, have these conversations. And I think, like you said, a lot of people are like, you know what, we ain't did it before. You know, it's been I've been doing this for 20 years and now we just starting to do it. And it's starting to come off kind of, you know, I don't know, sexist and, you know, just misogynistic. I mean, those are the words that are being these are not my words. These are words being tossed out by other people that, you know, are watching some of the content that is being put out there.
Those are some big terms, Leo.
Hey man,
Yeah.
listen, you know, every once in a while I do, you know, read a book or something. But
Yeah,
listen,
I said uneducated jock, and you come back with misogynist and sexist. I feel some type of way.
I mean, well, no, I'm just saying. I mean, that's where some of the conversations have went. And there's some other topics and things that they went to. And we'll talk about that and get into it in just a second, specifically when it comes to when we talk about Caitlin Clark. But it has caused some debates, man. It's caused some debates on several different shows. I'm not gonna name any names, drop any names. We've had people describe certain situations with Caitlin Clark, and then they used a term to describe her, and he got caught up in some mess. Then we had another talking head that, you know, presented his thoughts behind certain things in a very sexist way. And, you know, we've had, you know, several former WNBA players and other women that are also in sports media, you know, challenge them and bring them and call them to the carpet on what they're talking about. So I think it's, you know, this is we are in the infancy of making women's sports relevant in sports media. And I hope to see it get, you know, better and better as time goes on and it gets more pub, because right now it's still just, you only get a snippet. You know, it's the WNBA. I know we just had as we record this show, you know, women's soccer. They just had a pretty significant match. And the US women's soccer team has been very dominant over the last, you know, couple of decades, and they still only get this much love. So yeah, man, male dominated sports media industry, and it just doesn't set up and present well when it comes to women's sports. So let's get into this Caitlin Clark effect and just talk about a few things. So Caitlin, you know, has made her grand entrance into the WNBA. We talked about this on the previous episode, but now, you know, she's in and she has to prove herself. So some of the things that are going on, I don't know. They might be new to us, but I don't think they've been new to the people that actually been following the WNBA. So, I mean, Derek, let's get into it, brother. I guess for lack of a better term, is there a bullseye on Caitlin's back?
Absolutely.
Just ask.
I'm giving you short answers today. You know I'm gonna give you short answers today. Yes, absolutely. There's a bullseye, and there ought to be a bullseye. Anybody that come in as the number one pick and hyped up like that, absolutely bullseye. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, and you come into the worst team in the league, you know, and so you know, and I'm not going to. Let's be real. Caitlin, I don't think she hyped herself up. There was a lot of hype with her at Iowa, and there was a lot of hype with her coming into the league. So she didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? The talking heads, you know, they did it, you know, and, you know.
She didn't do it, but she sure didn't shy away from it either.
Well, I mean, hey, look, part of that was, you know what I'm saying, building her brand. Now, I can't be mad at her trying to build a brand. Now, if you want to talk me up, go ahead. Zero's going to keep adding up behind it.
That's what I'm saying. So at least this is what I will say. I haven't seen her cry too much publicly about some of the things that may be going on. So I'll give her a thumbs up for that, because she could easily be the little spoiled brat and say, hey, woe is me. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give her that much.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, I want to give her a due. I think she is tough as nails, man. Like you said, I mean, she knows there's a bullseye on her back. We all know that, man. And you know, they wanted to bring the race thing in. Is that possibly a factor? You can't throw it out. You can't throw it out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, you know, this is a league Huh? I mean, it's there. I mean, it's
I
part
mean,
of. Let's be real. It's part of the reason why the hype is around her the way that it is.
right.
I'm sorry. We still live in
We
that
just
world where I'm saying this is
we do.
a white girl that's playing very a sport very well and she's made it to the professional level. So that's going to always come into consideration. So and then a
All
lot
you
of the
gotta do is
stuff
read
that has happened
the comments.
exactly right. And a lot of the stuff that has happened to her, now we're looking at it as, from that racial component. But and that's enough. That's where I want to go with this, Derico, man. Because Angel Reese, on the other hand, who's made her debut in the WNBA as well, they ain't playing no games with her either. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if
Nope.
it's the bullseye is stronger on Caitlin, but I know for a fact Angel Reese. I've been paying attention to a couple of games and watching some highlights. Man, they've been going after her ass too, man. They've been welcoming her pretty well into the WNBA in their own right with Angel. I
Being,
think she ended up.
being a rookie, being a rookie in professional sports or any kind of sports, freshman, first year, whatever, is an equal opportunity ass whooping coming. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's just what it is. I mean, it's just like when people pledge, you're gonna get hazed, just like you get a new job, somebody's gonna rag or haze you in your new job. I mean, that's just that's I just think that that's just the American way. Not saying that it's right or wrong, but I feel like it helps bring you to a place of being humble. I can tell you from Jump Street, we had a freshman quarterback my senior year. Freshman. And he thought highly of himself. Yes, he did. And he should have, because he's a good athlete. However, when the younger guys are learning from the older guys, sometimes you just got to listen, so that no teaching has to be taught. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
with that being said, I think this will be helpful to help all these rookies coming in to just be a little tad bit humble and appreciate the fact that the NBA, the WNBA, NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, all this started way before you got here. So don't get
Yeah. And don't care who you are. And I think that I don't know, maybe people haven't been followed. I don't know why they think the rules would be different with the WNBA than than they against the male counterparts at the NBA or at any other professional level. But it still applies. These are still athletes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just because they women, they not supposed to go out there and compete and do what
I,
they do. Nah,
I, I don't get that.
I think for me,
I
man,
just
sometimes I
don't.
think the women
The women got more. They do. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm
they
gonna
go
say it for you.
hard in the paint. They go
I've
tough.
seen the women get more physical than the men in the NBA, because they understand women are catty. We know this. So there's a
Yeah.
different level of cattiness in the WNBA than the NBA. The NBA players got to hold this image of thinking that they not this or whatever. But the women in the NBA, WNBA are absolutely 100% more physical and mean it than the men in the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is nothing new, people. I mean, with the physicality of the game in the WNBA, we haven't been watching it and paying attention, but I don't have to, go back in retrospect and look at games 5, 10 years ago with the WNBA to know that this is how this league has been. Um, and how it is. And I don't think that these, yes, there's a bullseye on Caitlin's back. Yes, there's a bullseye on Angel Reese's back. Like you said, it's a part of being a rookie and it's a part of finding yourself when it comes to playing any type of sport at any level. So and it's gonna continue to be like this as we move forward in the WNBA season, and as she has been kind of dubbed the poster child of the league. Every night she gonna be subject to it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what's gonna happen. And you know, it's nothing personal, but you're gonna get challenged. I mean, one of the things with being an athlete is, and I told my son this as my son is starting his journey in sports, is that in order to you always want to go against the best, because it shows you where you are, your measuring stick. As an athlete, when I was on the field, I always say, hey, put the biggest, strongest, fastest dude in front of me, because that's going to show me where I am as an athlete, and it's going to show me if I'm not up to par where I need to be. So that's what's going to happen. You're going to see that in sports, period, man. You know what I'm saying? And some of these girls has been in the league for, a couple of years. It's like, hey, you know what? Okay, you hot stuff. Let's see. Show me. You know what I'm saying? Let me put this bow in your ribs real quick and see how you feel about that. You know what I'm saying? And see if you can work with that, and test your heart and see, where you are. So that's just how it's gonna be, man. I think it's nothing. It's really
they might have to change the name on the back of their jerseys and put Missouri on the back of them instead of Clark and Reese.
Show me.
Y'all got to show me.
For real, man. So yeah, man, I think that this is more, we're reading into it a little harder than we actually should. And for the men that are covering, these sports, I would ask for them to have, to listen, and have some empathy and be open and look at things objectively when it comes to looking at women's sports. Because it's gonna be here. It's not going anywhere. And I think that there'll be some more top-notch players coming out in years to come that are highlight. And I personally, I love it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I want this league to grow, and I want these young women that are playing in that league to get their due, man, because they're athletes, man, and they go out and they do this just like the men. So, you know what I'm saying? I mean, will we ever get to a point where it's standing, we talking, next? I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to see that, but it's ticking up, because we come from Derek, man, we know that, 20, 30 years ago, man, women, you were having to go overseas to play professionally after college. I know women personally that I know that had to go to Greece, had to go to, Turkey or other countries to play, after college, because there was no system here in the States that was worth anything. And now, this sport is growing here, and hopefully it'll continue to grow, man. So before we close it out, what's up, brother?
Shout out to my hometown. Shout out to my hometown. Shout out to my hometown basketball women's hero, Teresa One Bone Edwards, baby. She absolutely will tell you that this is a fact, that you had to go across the water in order to continue your basketball career after college. So yeah,
absolutely.
So I'm glad that they have this platform.
Absolutely, and we're gonna hopefully it'll continue to grow. And put like this, when it's on, I definitely fired up, man. I was the other night, like I said, I was flipping through the channels, and I'm just to get off into something else before we close this thing out too. The branding is different. Let me tell you something, man. And I'm not gonna go too far off into the weeds with this, but this is not the WNBA that we saw when it first started. These young ladies, you know what I'm saying? They doing their own thing. They putting their own twist on their thing. You feel me? And and they doing it big. So shout out to them for, you know what I'm saying, hey, you know what? The perception
coming out there looking like a fashion runway.
Exactly. The perception of all, women's basketball players is they're changing that whole perception, man. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be real, there was, a quote unquote perception of women athletes, but that's changing. You know what I'm saying? I think that is changing, and it's evolving just like everything else. So, like I said, man, it's on the up and up, man. I think it's nothing but good, and I think that all of this is going to elevate, man. So that's what I'm hoping. Absolutely, man. So listen, man, we're gonna close this thing out there, man. It's always good, man, chopping it up with you, man. And I'm gonna tell everybody here, if you're watching this, throw it in the comments, man. Let us know, how you feel about the show, what you want to hear us talk about next, what you want to hear us, hey, hell, you want to come on and talk about something, let us know. So there, before we close this thing out, as we always do, okay, whatever. Like we always do, go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Hey, man, you can reach me on the Twitter. You can reach me at DSU96SDD. You can reach me on IG at Derrico_Virgo. You can reach me on Snapchat at DJK6, and you can find me on Facebook at Stacy D Derrico. And always you can find me right here in the cave or out at the bins at one of them tailgates. Shout
Like I
out.
said, I'm mad enough to say I got whipped up on, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't played no bones in probably 20 years for real. But you know, hey, we're gonna run them back. One thing we are gonna do is run them back. Best believe that, Jack. We'll run them
Absolutely.
back, man.
Absolutely.
Shout out to my boy Jeremy, man, who was over there playing with us over at the Benz at the Footy Mall tailgate. Shout out Footy Mall for real. Always catch your boy Leo G, man, in these Twitter, X streets, whatever, on personal page, Southern Set with 2 T's. That's right, I'm Bruiser the Butcher. You can also catch the show for now at the Leo G Show #1, at the Leo G Show #1. Also catch us on Facebook if you're still there. I don't know about you, Derek. I go to Facebook, man, just to wish everybody a happy birthday. That's pretty much what all I do on Facebook nowadays. But if you're still on Facebook, man, you can catch us over there from time to time. We'll be live, and we'll also be live on YouTube. Also, like and subscribe our YouTube channel, the Leo G Show, over there on YouTube. So this has been another edition of the Leo G Show for now, and we'll definitely come back to you with some more content. And we appreciate you. Oh, shout out to our brother Banks, man, you know, for holding us down as well. He'll definitely be back. But it's been another edition. We're gonna be out.
ATL, ho.